his character based on how he left his current situation. To have the remorse, to feel for the city, the genuine, regret of leaving the city. Talking about players and how they feel about how they play for their fan base. He definitely showed that. And then he got here and he landed in L.A. He decided that he's a Ram. And, he told us that he was appreciative to be here and couldn't wait to be here and all the stuff that we talk about. But just talking about the guy and how that reaction went down was one of the greatest things I think I've witnessed when you're talking about trading for a player or acquiring a guy and all those type of things. But really early to talk about who he is, really early to talk about all the things. He's in a cycle right now of learning everything that we call it, how we call it, different things, different teammates, all those people, but he's fitting in really well.
Why did that strike you, that example that you just mentioned? Why did that strike your heart?
It was always different. When you're talking about the NFL, we don't have, or we didn't have many trades up until it wasn't a trade league. That was more of an NFL, NBA thing, and now currently that we do have some of these trades, some of these acquisitions that happen mid-season that football players are really not accustomed to because of not to say that basketball didn't have, but the family atmosphere and the things you generate over the time. And being around different players and places that you've been and how they go about their business. It's one thing to switch from year to year, but when you switch in mid-year, it was different. It was cool to see a player that's played this well in our league and played this great for so long have that kind of emotion. I thought that was really cool.
Raheem, what was your initial reaction when they came to you and said, we're trading for Von Miller?
Just like probably anybody else that's going to coach. It's the same reaction I probably had when they said you're going to come to L.A. and coach, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. We're going to acquire Von Miller. It's like, wow. Isn't that exciting? Isn't that impressive? You're talking about coaching great players in our league and great players in our game. You got to have a certain respect for that as coaches, and you got to have a certain amount of appreciation for your organization to be willing to go out and do whatever it takes to go to win. And I love being here, and I love that atmosphere. I love the bright lights. And the lights are particularly more bright today, it seems like, up here in this press conference.
I know it's still early in the week, but do you anticipate him playing Sunday?
We're going to take it day to day. He is coming off a little snafu that he had there at the end of the game. We all saw it. Was all very well documented. He's out there at practice right now. We'll see what he can do. And we'll take it. Sean and Reggie will make the right decision moving forward, along with Les and everybody else that's involved with decision-making when it comes to injuries. You don't always leave that to the players because sometimes you got to protect them from themselves. But we'll go out and make the best decision for our team and what's best moving forward.
When it comes to the big picture of what he can do the rest of the season, whether it's this week or 3 or 4 weeks down the road, how does that help you?
That is a trick question. Von Miller will help anybody, when they talk about calling defense. He makes plays come to life, similar to a lot of the guys that we have. A lot of things been given credit for moving Jalen around. I don't know if that's credit for Jalen. I don't know if that's credit to me, but I know those are great players. When you put them in certain spots, they're going to make plays. And he's no different. He's one of those great players in this league that you can move him just about anywhere. You can do whatever you want to do with him, whether it be drop, whether it be rush, whether it be just go out there and talk about our philosophy. He certainly embodies that. I think the first time I spoke to you guys ever in a in-person forum, we talked about mentally and physically affecting the quarterback, and he certainly fits that part of your philosophy.
I know you say stats are for losers. So, with that being said, Sebastian Joseph-Day, even missing the game, he's like among the top in the league in run-stop win rate.
Sure.
What have you seen from him in that regard? And when you found out that he was a former sixth-round pick, what was your reaction to that?
It was great. I can just go back to the first day that I met Bash, here on site, and you come in the building, he's a big imposing figure. He's a big guy. And then you get a chance to watch him move. You can see he can move. He can rush the pass. He can do certain things, do different things across the board. He can line up with AD. He can be just as intimidating at times. And all those things I really loved about it. I did not know the win rate of the stats, but I know he's playing well. I know he's playing well enough that we like to put him out there in those situations. Last week it was hard going out without him. But it was great to see his teammates step up and do some really good things that he wasn't there. And I'm just happy he's back and going back this week.
How did preparing for Tennessee change with their running back situation?
I don't think you can change preparing for Tennessee because of what happened at running back. I think their head coach and their offensive coordinator and their offensive philosophy just in general remains the same. They're a hard-nosed, tough bunch of guys. I'm sure that O-line is getting cranked up. I'm sure that they're well coached by Keith Carter, a guy I know well. I know what he's talking about. He's talking about winning on our side of the line of scrimmage, and we're talking the same thing about winning on his side of the line of scrimmage. So I think the game would be won up front. I think the game will be played up front. It always will. You know, Derrick Henry has run for a lot of yards in this league, but he hasn't done it alone. And you got to add that tight end group into it, too. They've done a great job of blocking out there with Swain and those guys, and their coaching staff and what they've been able to do has been impressive over the last couple of years, particularly this one. And I think that challenge will be given to us. You know, we didn't know who the Cleveland running back was a couple of weeks ago that went out there and ran all over another team. So we don't want to fall victim to that. We got to go out there and play the philosophy of this team, the mentality of this team. We got to match it, and we got to do better.
When you think about the Rams' Super Bowl potential, which seems to, the subject is more urgent every time a move is made.
Sure.
What do you know now at midseason, and what do you still need?
I don't think ever say if you still need anything when you talk about a coach. You know, our job is not to create excuses. Our job is to go out and find reasons to why. And the reasons why were, no different when we acquired Vaughn. They were no different than what we did at the beginning of the season. We talked about winning the championship here. We haven't been shy about that. We haven't shied away from that topic. And we want to go out and do it. And we don't take it for granted, and we don't think we're saying it in an arrogant way. There's no spot in football for arrogance. But what we got to do is go out there and we got to keep acquiring people and whatever it takes for us to get better. And our front office, our head coach, they've shown the bold and daring moves that they've continued to do since we've been here. And Sean's been here really, and probably started when Les was here. But those type of moves that that your organization is just putting it all in and going in every day.
But now that you've acquired pretty much everybody big that you're going to acquire, and you have your team, how do you assess what you have and what do you still need to find out?
Like I said, it was a championship aspirations before. So I don't think those things will change based on getting another great player. We're going to go out and try to be our very best self every single day. I don't know what you want me to say when it comes to that. It didn't change overnight. It certainly won't change getting another really good football player. We want to go out there and do the very best we can, but it starts this week winning one game at a time, versus a very good Tennessee Titans football team.
Hey, Raheem, how did Darius Williams look at? I know it was like a glorified walkthrough yesterday.
Yes.
How do you look, and what does it mean to get him back?
It's a jog through around here, Jordan, we call it. And
Nothing is half speed.
we went through it. He made it through the jog through, made it through well. I'm really looking forward to getting out there today, going through our practice and getting through the modes. And so, we'll see. We've had a bunch of people step up in his absence. He's biting at the bit to get back. So I can't wait to see him go out there and get a chance to get some full speed reps.
You guys have structurally done some interesting things, not just with your linebackers / Taylor Rapp and Jalen Hurts and some passing down
Sure.
situations, but also with the shell over the back as
Yeah.
well. Do you expect to continue to push in that regard moving forward in terms of that creativity now that based on maybe emergency kind of, a little bit more about what you have in the reserves?
I love that fact. When you can put different people out there and spin guys out there and keep them fresh, you get better results. And last week was a great example of it. We were able to go out there and we were able to affect the passer in different personnel groupings, whether it be Dime, whether it be Penny, whether it be some of those different people that you talked about putting in there, forming the shells over the back, forming different aspects of our game, being able to grow on different parts of it. And the more you show, the more you can do. And the better you are, the more you can move forward. And these guys, they adapt quickly. And they pick up different things very fast. And I'm very excited about the amount of people we've been able to play, particularly at the end of the game, find more about people that wouldn't play normally. And that's been fun. And it's been fun to play with those movable pieces.
Would you expect that with Aaron Donald?
I'm coming back there. I'm sorry. You can do whatever you want with a guy like Vaughn. He's done a lot of football. He's done a bunch of things. Right now, I'm going to say he's probably in the fit-in mode, so you get him into the fit-in mode, and then after you get him comfortable, you get him to learn what he needs to learn from a base standpoint, then you go play with those toys. You don't leave him in that packaging that you got him in. You let him go out there and you let him explore, you let him do some different things. So I'm really excited about that, along with our coaches. There'll already be things done to go with this. Because I'll give you a funny story. I got time for this one, but I remember when he came out in the draft, and I was at a 4-3 team then, and I was the head coach. And we talked about Vaughn possibly not being a fit because he wasn't a 4-3 and he was an outside backer. I said, you changed the scheme. And I meant it with everything, every being that I had. And I feel no differently about what he'll be able to do for us. Go ahead, Lindsay. I'm sorry.
How much would you anticipate that with Vaughn's arrival that Aaron Donald will see a decrease in double and triple teams?
That's going to be up to the offensive coordinators and the people that want to put four hands like we constantly hear every single week on Aaron Donald. They're certainly invited too. And I'm sure the other guys look forward to it, just as Flo has. Flo enjoys that, and people in the past. When you play with a great player like Aaron Donald, you got to know he's going to garner a bunch of attention, and that's going to leave you susceptible to a few one-on-ones. And when you get your opportunity, you got to take advantage of them. And now you got a couple players up there that are garner some more attention and garner some of those attention that Flo has and he has in the past, being Vaughn. And we'll see. Things change on a week-to-week basis, and you got to be able to look out there and see what's going on and change your calls as well.
That's Tampa Bay, right? So you're still at Tampa when you.
Yeah, I was at Tampa. Yes, I was at Tampa. It was funny. It was hilarious. I'll never forget it. It was a scout sitting there. It was the GM. It was Mark Dominic at the time. It was myself. It was Dennis Hickey. I don't know if he's a scheme fit. I can tell you what, he is. We'll find out what to do and what to change. Oh, yeah, he never made it to us, but it is what it is. What's up, guys?
Sean, hi, by the way. Kevin, Sean Day mentioned a couple weeks ago that he knew Matthew Stafford was going to be good, but didn't realize he would be this good in terms of the way that you guys have expanded your offense
Yeah.
and whatnot. Are you, looking back on the process and everything, is it surprising at all to you guys internally that Matthew
For me personally, no, just because I can still remember kind of the process in which, I was kind of, hey, take a look at this guy on tape and, let me know what you think type thing. Real general, nothing specific, but just watching him and kind of, we have the ability to look back like on inventory just past the previous seasons. We can go back and see a lot of ball and watch a lot of things, but just the way he played the position, the way you could tell, he led that group there and no flinch mentality, but just the pure ability to play the position, both from an above the neck standpoint of, his mental capacity and then also just the physical ability to throw the football, inside, outside the pocket. As a dynamic quarterback that he really is. I knew it'd be a great fit, but then when you actually get him in the building and you start really meeting with him and finding out just how deep his football knowledge goes, and then his willingness to be able to apply his talent to stretch the field like we've been able to do, and his willingness to stand in there, and then can't give enough credit to the guys around him for helping that transition in that huddle being so smooth. I had a smile on my face right away because I know, no matter what AFC, NFC, going back to the years coaching in this league, since he's been a player in this league, everybody knows about Vaughn. Everybody knows how he impacts the game in so many different ways. I mean, he gets credit for the pass rusher and the elite, Hall of Fame level pass rusher that he is. But he impacts the game when you're an offensive coach playing against him in so many ways. So knowing that we'd be able to pair him with obviously AD, but Leonard Floyd's playing great ball. Those guys all up front are playing great ball on the defensive side. And then the back end, knowing that the skill sets we have back there, you really start thinking about, the type of impact they're going to have on our team. But thank goodness I coach here and get to just watch them from the same sideline and not have to go against them.
Kevin, how would you explain what happened or didn't happen, with Deshaun Jackson when he was here, and how you guys kind of move forward depth-wise and stuff?
Yeah, I think, from a standpoint of what didn't happen and what did happen, I have nothing but positive things to say about Deshaun when he was here. I thought as far as, being a teammate and his impact on us was, like I said, a real positive. I just know that, it being kind of a mutual thing at the same time, we're really excited about the guys that are here, those young guys, and obviously starting with Cooper, playing better than anybody in the league right now. Roberts had a tremendous impact, and then Van's continued growth. We're seeing it snap in and snap out just like last week. Focusing moving forward is just on the continued growth of, what we're doing offensively and really incorporating every single guy we have capable, to go be ineligible, whether it's a tight end, receiver, running back. You guys have seen we're actively, trying to, spread the field and get everybody involved in the pass game. And, that's kind of where we're at. So excited about, the opportunity this weekend, and got a really good defense coming in to play against us, and we know how well coached they are, their scheme, but also really, really good players over there, so we'll need all of our guys this weekend to go be effective.
Coach was talking about wide receiver depth as a whole, about the need to kind of manage the workload of
Yep.
Cooper and Robert down the road, and not a pitch count, he said, but, so how does that work? What are you looking to do?
Yeah, you guys have seen it. I mean, we ask our receivers to do a lot, whether it's the run game or, and maybe it's not even blocking in the run game. Sometimes it's those, fly motions and how the different ways in our phases of offense we try to apply pressure to the defense. That takes, all 11 being on board. So if we can take some of those snaps off of Cooper or Robert or Van in any way, shape, or form with some guys, some young, talented guys that we feel really good about, I think it's a great opportunity for some of those guys to get in there. But as you guys know, we could be in the huddle 1 minute and then not huddle again for 10 plays. So they've got to know much more than just those, specific plays. They've also got to be able to, fit into a lot of the different things we do from a tempo standpoint, no huddle standpoint. So it puts a lot on their plate, but, they've been growing since the first day they got here. But I do think that'll be big, over the course of the season. We ask a lot out of those guys, so be big for us.
Does losing Deshaun Jackson change your offensive philosophy and how you guys approach things at all?
No, I don't think so. I think, you guys have seen it. We've all three of our, quote unquote starters have gone. We use the phrase "gone up" on the defense, gone vertical, and that's important. We don't just want one guy or, hey, this formation, it's only this guy going vertical. I think the elements of our offense where we've been able to apply the most pressure this year is really all of our eligibles. Tyler Higbee, Darrell Henderson, you saw against the Giants. I mean, we want to take advantage of matchups when they're there, but we want all five of our eligibles, at times being able to go vertical opens up everything you do underneath, but also, taking advantage of what Matthew does best as well.
Sean mentioned Jacob Harris, Ben Skronik, and J.J. Koski as the three guys kind of rounding out the 2 deep for your 11 personnel grouping.
Yep.
I know that obviously they haven't seen a ton of action to this point, but what have you noticed about their development and kind of what they've contributed behind the scenes that, should they be called upon, they'd be, ready to step in and provide something?
Yeah, starting out with Ben, I mean, he's a guy that normally when you see Cooper Kupp walking around the building, it wouldn't be a surprise to see Ben, right behind him, in meetings, sitting next to him, even when the quarterbacks meet sometimes with, Cooper's in there a lot, I'll walk in and see Ben in there. He's just done a tremendous job. I learned a long time ago as a rookie, it's better to be seen and not heard. He's really, been like that from a standpoint of just being a sponge. And then when he's called upon and you really don't know, does he really know what to do? He's gone in and checked that box every single time. And then, oh, by the way, there's a reason why he's here. When you evaluate him before the draft, the talent, he's strong, his size, catches the ball real well in a contested, catch situation. So he's brought a lot of really good things that I think more than just filling in, he can actually, provide some elements for us as a bonus to those other guys. And then obviously Jacob Harris, the physical talent that he has, big target, can absolutely fly. He's feeling healthy, which is really good, going back to getting dinged up in training camp. So we're excited about that. And then J.J. Koski is one of my personal favorites, getting to call some plays in the preseason. I just remember the feeling I always had of knowing, A, he's going to know what to do, and then, hey, he can go win his individual one-on-one matchups. He's a factor in the run game, really understanding kind of that role Cooper plays and Robert play in the run game from a physicality standpoint. So I know that's a lot, but all three of those guys, it's a really long answer to say excited about them. They all kind of do their own things from a skill set standpoint, and every single day they step out on this field, it's about growth and having the confidence to go make an impact.
Kevin, when you are evaluating and working with young receivers, I'm thinking specifically of Van in this case, but I think really any of the guys you mentioned as
Yep.
well. How can you tell when they've sort of turned the corner and are ready for more?
Yeah, I think it's, a lot of times we see guys, we show past pictures and we show, you can explain a route all day long, but when you start seeing guys within the confines of how we coach, put their own spins on things, their own way to separate at the top of routes, their own way to, finish plays in those contested situations. Those just lead you to believe this guy's confident, and he not only knows what to do, but now he's using his own skill set to, apply that to kind of take it to the next level. And that's what you need to do in the NFL is these defenders are too good. That they're so well coached. They play with great leverages that if you don't have that extra little bit that we've seen guys like Robert and Cooper, put on the top of their routes, or maybe it's just a release versus press, things like that. The production might not get to that point because either the rhythm and timing of the snap gets thrown off and Matthew progresses, or you just don't win. And then that might affect the next route and the next route. So he's consistently doing everything we're asking, but he's also starting to really embrace how he can personally kind of take his game to the next level.
What kind of tests does Tennessee present?
Yeah, they play really, really hard. I mean, up front, they throw a lot of different looks at you from some different personnel groups. You can get 5 bigs in there. You can get, dime groupings on third down or second down, known passing situations where they can do a lot of different things out of those that we really have to be on top of. Man, zone, pressure looks, all these different things, and they've got really good personnel. And, there's a reason why Byard was the player of the month in the AFC defensively because he's made a lot of plays. I mean, it doesn't take long watching the tape to see him flying around. The linebackers jump out to me as, active. David Long is a guy that jumps off the tape of running around sideline to sideline, putting pressure on us as an offense. So we got to have a plan for not only them individually but collectively because they are so well coached and they're going to have a good scheme for us.
Kevin, you said you smiled when you heard about Vaughn.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little bit of a lens from an offensive coordinator's standpoint. If you had a scheme against Von Miller, but then there's also Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, what's the greatest challenge that comes to you?
Yeah, there's only so many screens and draws and, trick plays you can call before you eventually got to drop back. And at that point, you got to figure out, you really have to prioritize and figure out who you want to leave, individually blocked, which just from the sideline, I've looked out and seen just about every way to block Aaron Donald possible. Slide the line, try to help with the back, try to do all those different things. And I'm sure the guys in Denver would probably say the same thing about Vaughn. He's seen every way to block that. But the one thing I do know is you can't do both those things at the same time. And then, oh, by the way, Leonard Floyd might be playing some of his best ball. So, from my perspective, like I said, I'm happy they're on our team. I'm hoping maybe we'll cut out some OTAs or things next year so we don't have to, maybe we'll just go separate. So we don't have to worry about that, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But offensively, we love seeing those guys, on the field together in the huddle at the same time when we look out there. And oh, by the way, there's a lot of other guys on that defense who've been playing really well too that will only be able to elevate their games with guys like that up front.
All set?
Yeah. Thanks, guys.